My name is Evelyn, and I have a temper. I want to tell you an incident in my life that is happening to me right now. That evening, we were sitting with my friend Molly in our little custom jewelry store with no mood. It had been 2 months since we had opened this shop to sell pretty things there, but things weren't going well. We had customers, but not as many as we would have liked. And we wanted to expand to a full-fledged store by the end of the 3rd month after starting our business. And in 6 months, we would like to open a 2nd store. And in a year, we shall have a chain. Molly counted our sales for the day and signed heavily. Evelyn, we have a decision to make. This week we will either pay the rent on our tiny space, or we will buy you that dress you liked so much today at the store next door, she said. Why can't we have both? Aren't we businesswomen to afford everything? Molly, what's wrong with our business? Why do we have so little money? I was indignant. Molly knew better than I did. Because it's still very early. We need to advertise well to attract new customers, and that costs money. And it takes time to make more money, she said. But I still don't get it. No, Molly, that's a long way to go. This is not how I imagine our business life when you and I open this store. We will have to figure something out, I suggested. Evelyn, there is no magic wand that can make you a big profit overnight. Even the most successful businessmen started from scratch, counting pennies like you and me. People take years to become successful, she said. Molly had a way of being boring. That's not what I had in mind. We need a plan, I said. Not a fancy plan, but a realistic plan. Do you have an idea? Molly asked pessimistically. I don't have an idea, but I do have a question. And a good question is a half the answer, I said. Molly was intrigued. Go on, say it. It might be useful in our case. She rushed me. I was afraid of my friend's reaction, but I spoke up. Molly, we are those generous mothers of rich guys who come up to you and say, I will give you $1 million and you will leave my son alone. We need a woman like that. Molly laughed at first, and then twirled her finger at the temple and whistled in my direction. Evelyn, this is not time for jokes. We have business to think about. I didn't like that my valuable idea didn't ignite my friend. I felt resentful. Molly, it's up to you. But I'm on it. All right, I'm not greedy. I don't need to give a whole $1 million. $500,000 is enough for me. And now I'm willing to leave any rich man's son alone, I said generously. Evelyn, it's time for you to remember that you don't have a boyfriend, rich or poor. You've been sleeping with Teddy Bear for a year. Teddy will get gray hairs from your nighty sobbing, Molly said. But that was a weak argument to me. I already had a plan in my head. Molly, do you know the son of Willie's Preston family? I believe his name is Mike. His father owns a corporation that makes smartphone parts. They have a lot of money and not a lot of happiness. That's what we needed, I said. Yeah, I've heard of that family. I think this Mike guy works for his dad as a vice president. But the guy's married to a famous actress named Melanie Gray. Don't tell me you're gonna compete with a star. Molly was outraged. Why wouldn't I? I have every reason to. First of all, Mike is unhappily married. I read about it on his social media page. Look, Molly, things are so bad out here. It's time to save the guy. He will thank me for that, I said, and I read out loud the latest news about Mike and Melanie. So, according to the last news, Mike is in a deep depression because 2 weeks ago he told his wife that he was going to another city on his father's business, and he went to a nightclub, met 2 girls and brought both of them to his hotel room. And when the party was in a full swing, Mike left his room, came to swim in a pool, and there he saw Melanie having a nice time with not the best soccer player named Monty. A fight broke out between them, and hearing the commotion, Mike's girls came running to rescue him right in the bikinis. As a result, Melanie came at them with his fists, and as a result, She herself ended up in a hospital with a head injury. When Mike came to her to ask for forgiveness, he was forced out of the clinic under her arm with the help of security. And Mike stays home all day playing stupid online games. This is the guy I'm gonna take care of, I said, and it was my decision. Dude, you're out of your mind. All right, you daydream, I will take care of business. I have to order a new shipment. I'll probably ask for a different payment so that our business doesn't stop, Molly said sadly, and went to do some paperwork. The next day, I found a maid's uniform in the attic and went to the elite apartment complex where Mike lived. It wasn't hard to find his apartment. I knocked quietly on Mike's door. Luckily for me, he opened the door himself. I think he was drunk. Hi, cleaning service. You didn't book us, but we are running a promotion. Any service is free for 24 hours, I said. Well, if that's the case, come on in. We need to wash the windows and tidy up the rooms. But please, do it quietly. I can't stand noise, Mike said. I breathed a sigh of relief, because the hardest part of the plan had worked well. With the window washing and with the cleaning of the room, I had to make an effort. I have never been such a laborer. And when I was done, I went back to Mike and said, Business is done, but my time is not done yet. Is there anything you would like? I asked. What can you do besides cleaning? Mike asked. I can fantasize. I can make up jokes and anecdotes. I can parody any person I don't like. I honestly confessed. That's great. Tell me a couple of dumb jokes about athletes, Mike asked. How about soccer players? I asked, remembering the fact that one of them had recently ruined Mike's life. That will be great. Mike went along with the idea. Monty, the soccer player, died and went to heaven. The apostle met him at the gates of heaven and asked him, Who are you? He answers, I'm a soccer player, Monty. Have you heard of him? Then the apostle shakes his head and asks, How did you get in the goal? Mike liked my joke. He laughed loud long. Monty had just played disgustingly last month, never once hitting the goal. There were many more jokes. Mike liked my company. You're cool. Tell me, how do I order the service if I still want to laugh? Mike asked me one last time. Just call, I said. Pulled out a business card for my bra, which I had drawn with my own hands, and handed it to him. I definitely call you, he promised me one last time. And yes, I didn't have to wait long for his call. Mike called the next day and said, My apartment is clear, no need to clean. And let's better you and I met somewhere in a bar, and you tell me from your jokes. I'm willing to pay for your time, he offered. And let's make a deal. I don't take any money from you, but I reserve to ride to the next meeting. What do you think? I asked. Great. I'm all for it, Mike agreed. So we had our second fun time at the bar. When Mike got tired of laughing, he started a serious conversation. Thanks to you and whatever come up with this idea, I've been in a deep sadness these past few days. I think you know what's going on in my life. I'm confused and depressed. My friends are sympathetic, and paparazzi are pestering me at every turn. It makes me feel even worse. But with you, I can relax and forget about everything. Tell me, how do you manage to make such funny jokes right away? He asked. I checked the second box in my grand plan because everything was going right. Mike was interested in me, which meant I had a chance to get into his inner world. For the first 300 years of my life, I was in a lot of pain, and when I got tired of the pain, I learned to laugh at it. I confessed honestly. You're an amazing person, said Mike. From that day on, we became close friends. Mike told me a lot of things. Not all of them I liked because he turned out to be stupid and shallow. He was also infantile to the core. He was also capricious like a little child. He was also picky about everyone around him. No wonder why his wife strayed from him. I thought to myself, listening to his hours-long monologues. I was giving it to him a little differently. Mike, you have a lot of new horizons ahead of you. And it's not just career-wise, it's professional. You have a lot of joy ahead of you. I told him sometimes, implying that if he found the strength to change and become an adult, his life will change. But so far my words had made a strong impression on him. A couple more months passed, and Mike called me almost every day, asking for my time. He could talk to me for hours. Very often, he repeated the same stupid stories from his rich life and killed by them, as if there was a disease there. It annoyed me terribly. One day, I said to him, Mike, you're not holding the subject. You can start your story with your mud and end it with the color of your wife's underwear. How do I fix this? What should I do? He asked out of the blue. I was once again surprised, because I thought this guy was hopeless, and he's willing to listen to me. I gave him some advice, and Mike found it interesting. Now he started leaving the house more often, going for walks. I noticed that my new friend was more withdrawn. So I asked him, Mike, why don't you communicate with anyone on social networks? There are so many interesting things on there. Oh no, not that. I looked on there a week ago. It seems to me the whole world is just discussing me and my wife. People laughing at me that my wife cheated on me. I can't stand it, he said. What do you think about it yourself? I asked. What's there to think about? I was an idiot. Melanie is beautiful. If it were her, any other woman would have done the same thing to get back to an idiot like me, he said. Why don't you write about it on a social media page? Not so crude and primitive, but soft and beautiful, I suggested. Evelyn, you're crazy. Do you want me to be laughed at even more? Mike was indignant. And everything can turn out just the opposite, believe me. No one so famous dares to openly declare their real feelings about it. I think people would appreciate you, I said. Mike was against it, of course. But I repeated the idea to him for days on end. Even my friend Molly found out about it. Evelyn, why would you do that? She was surprised. Let them deal with it. And you were doing something stupid anyway. Leave that whining Mike and come back. There is so much work to do in our shop, my friend wailed. We can handle the work. That's what I want for my adventure. Maybe Mike's right. He'll be laughed at for his statement. But what do I care? I'm not in love with him. I'm not planning to turn his head. I'm not trying to get him to like me. I don't want anything from him. I'm waiting for his mother to call me around the corner and offer me $1 million to get off his back, I said. Molly once again twiddled her thumb and went to work. Meanwhile, I get a call from Mike. I've decided to write about my feelings, but I want you to read it beforehand. I will text it to you right now, he said and sent me a short text. I didn't read it and just replied him, impressive post. And within half an hour, the post appeared on his social media profile. Something unimaginable was happening. Different people came to his page and wrote a huge number of comments. In the end, they were divided into two groups. Men wrote, Mike, you're a wimp. Why do you put up with this? And women wrote touching words like, this is the first man who has the courage to admit his guilt. Now, I found Mike sitting with his smartphone every day. He would laugh long and loud while reading different people's opinions. Eventually, after a week, we noticed Mike's popularity among women across the country grow. He started getting private messages and expressions of admiration. We didn't understand it all, but Mike and I had a lot of fun with it. Evelyn, you're amazing, he said one of those nights. Yeah, I know. It would be nice if I could turn my weirdness into money, I said. But Mike didn't understand what I was saying. It was all about his life. His life had taken on new colors. Now he asked me for advice even more often. Evelyn, I'm confused about myself, he said. I rolled my eyes in irritation. But since I'd made such a change with him myself, I was interested to hear what he had this time. And he did. Melanie called me today and asked me to apologize. She wants up to start over. But I don't want to do that. I don't know why. I don't want a relationship with her anymore. I was bored in it. Tell me, what I shall do? He asked. Mike, I don't know. You decide. Don't bother me. I have to work in my shop, and in my spare time, I have to do some part-time cleaning. And I don't care about your rose-colored worries, I said sincerely, not hiding my tiredness from him. At that time, I really started to think about the fact that I was doing some nonsense. Now I had decided to step out of Mike's life and get on with my life. And of course, I let him know about it. He was upset. Evelyn, what's the point of this friendship if you can just walk away? He asked. I will still be thinking about you. I love you as a person, not just a man. And for my feelings to live on, I don't have to be around you all the time, I said and left without listening to him. A few days passed and Mike found me on his own. His announcement shocked me. I'm going to file for divorce. Melanie and I talk and we come to this conclusion together, he said. How does your mom feel about it? Where's Melanie's mom? Why hasn't anyone offered me any money to leave you alone? Evelyn, stop fooling around. You're not that kind of girl. I know you. You are unique. There is no one else like you in the world. I beg you, come to live in my apartment, Mike suggested. And then I remembered that recently the owner of the room I rented for the pittance came and said that it had to be vacated by the end of the month or start paying more. I wanted neither. Okay, I will move in with you because I asked God for you to do just that, I said, and then Mike completely lost his head over me. When I was moving in, Molly still had her fingers on my temple and said in a friendly way that she should always be happy to see me back in our little shop. Life with Mike turned out to be easier than without him. True, he still talked a lot, often about other women, but I had a habit every night of forgetting everything he talked about during the day. Therefore, I treated him very calmly. We had no reason to quarrel. I want to become like you, he said one day. Then learn to forget day by tomorrow morning, I advised him. Gradually, Mike began to change. Now spending time with him became more interesting for me. But that wasn't all. I kept waiting for his mother or father, who will be against our relationship. One of those days, Mike said that we were going to meet his parents. I was excited. Finally, they will see their son messing around with some simulation and want to get rid of me immediately, I thought. All evening, I behaved casually, ate exquisite dishes in the house of the rich and drank expensive wine. I answered all his mother Sarah's question honestly, but she was in no hurry to offer me money. The next time we met, she said, My God, my son has finally found a good girl to be with, a girl who makes him different. He's growing up in front of my eyes. Evelyn, you're a miracle, she said. And then I realized that my plans had hit a dead end. His father was saying his words after her. The Preston family genuinely loved me, but I wasn't sure I loved them as much. And when Mike proposed marriage to me, I was slow to give my consent. Instead, I went to his mother and told it like it was. I need the money. I've been working for pennies all my life. I thought that honest and hard work will help me out of poverty, but it didn't happen. Now I want easy money. $1 million is not necessary. $500,000 is enough for me, I said, and waiting for Sarah to get angry. But once again, she failed to live up to my expectations. Evelyn, I'm sorry, dear. I forgot to tell my husband to set up an account in your name and transfer some of the money as our family member. Thank you for reminding me of that. Will take care of the problem in the next few days, she said. A few days passed, and I received a gold bank card in my hand. There was a lot more money in the account than I wanted. Now, I was thinking, should I marry Mike or go to Molly to spin our business together?